you come back, you like try and read for the rotation. And as you go through every single rotation, you basically have covered a lot of material for CK. So you're not getting a specific allotted time.
Okay.
Okay. And rotation hours depends on every single rotation. Some are like 6 hours, some are 12 hours, some are 8 hours. It just depends on the rotation you're doing.
So are we supposed to give the USMLE step to CK right after we complete our 72 weeks of clinical rotations?
Yeah, you should. If you want to apply, you have to.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Hello.
Hello.
So my question to I'm Aditya. My question to Anshul is that during your clinical rotations, did you see any opportunities which are available for students to assist professors or the staff in their research work?
It's really difficult during the rotations to actually get into research work. I've tried, but it's really hard here. It's really hard to, after the rotation, go to do that, go do this. It's not possible during rotation. If you want to do research, you can finish your rotations and then try and get into it. People here do actually 1 year of research before applying. So if you're really interested in doing research, you should probably do that. But doing it during clinicals is hard because clinicals itself are tough. So yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. Like, how is the patient inflow and the amount of the patient experience that you get exposed to as against India? See, like in India, I know that there's a lot of patient exposure, and all the hospitals are like having a lot of patient inflow, which is one of a very strong criteria for when we choose a college for admission. So how do you compare that with with the environment, your clinical in the clinical environment, the patient inflow in the US?
So we do see a lot of patient. It just depends on what rotation you are on. Not only do we have PGH and Galesburg as our clinical site, we also have certain outside clinics here where you could go and do your finish your particular amount period of rotation, and you see a lot of patients. You have a lot of patients exposure, different comorbidities, different management. You have the most amazing part of this rotation is that you have residents here. So they are in their training process, and we as medical students help them a lot. So residents teach you a lot. So yeah, we have a lot of patient exposure. We see a lot, and it's amazing. It's different than India because India has a whole, like a different set of patients. Here we have a whole different set of patients that we manage. It's more in regards to infectious diseases in India versus here, you won't see a lot of infectious diseases because you take a lot of precautions, you take a lot of vaccines here compared to there, and it's not more prevalent here. So yeah, but you do see a lot of patients if that's what your question was.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, any other question?
Atul, I just have one question, one more.
Yes.
What about
hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Just I have one question. Leaving how it means the parents also ask us that it means how it is. Hello.
Yes. I could not hear your question.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. You just speak a little like away from the mic because I can't understand.
Okay. How it's good to live in the US in the clinical rotations for for girls.
Oh,
How
in
do you
regards to
maintain your
safety?
safety? Yeah, safety in US. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't
Because in
understand. So you're
Curacao
asking me,
we have hostels. We have a hostel
yeah.
facility separate for boys and girls. But in clinicals, what is the safety of the girls student?
Okay. Safety, I mean, it is
So do
safe
you
if
have
that's what you're asking me. It's US. It's going to be
so do
safe.
you live in means do you have any facility from the hospital for the living and food? Means whether they
For
help you
what?
to have for the accommodations.
Accommodations, yeah, they
Yes.
have an apartment. They have a whole set of apartments here where students live. So yeah, you could get one of the apartments and it is safe. And the hospital is like right here. So you can walk, you can come back. If you are really scared to go at nighttime, you can ask a security guard to walk with you. Yeah, it's US, it's safe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
Yes.
yeah.
Ma'am, I have a question. What is actually different, like syllabus of this? मतलब I have a really confusion about it. कि खुरासो में it's 2.5 years of learning, but exactly what? Like in India, there are subjects like for the first year it is some like my this. Shit, I'm running out of the words. It is having, biochemistry, physiology, and anatomy. Then second year, something like that. Then embryology, histology, and then third year, neuro and all. So, what are the syllabus of firstly Curaçao for the 2 years, and then what if the exam MSLA something? What if we don't crack it? So, what is the other plan?
Kshitij, would you like to answer his question? Unmute.
Angela, I will do it. Yes. So for the basic sciences, you will be studying all the, like anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, pathology, and pathology, pharmacology, all the basic subjects which are comprises for USMLE Step 1. You'll be doing your USMLE Step 1 right after the basic sciences, comprising of all the basic subjects. After that, you will be headed to your clinicals where you will be studying all the core rotations: internal medicine, surgery, psychiatry, family medicine, OBGYN. And these are the cores for Step 2 CK, and these are the core syllabus for Step 2 CK USMLE exams. I hope I answered your question.
Okay. And so what if that entrance
Huh?
exam we couldn't, मतलब अगर नहीं हुआ
हाँ जी.
ये क्या बोलते हैं
But
हाँ
I
अगर
Exams,
guess,
नहीं
step
हुआ
2
तो
CK, yes.
yes, but I guess ये बहुत जल्दी होगा बोलने के लिए कि नहीं हुआ. There are many people who crack these exams. If you study well, if you have, if you put everything in, you can do it. You will
no, but
see. कई लोग ऐसे होते हैं will be like, oh ये नहीं कर पाएंगे, but they will be able to crack and get really good scores.
हाँ yeah I know that, but then what's the next मतलब क्या कर सकते हैं अगर ऐसा हुआ ही तो in the worst to worst situation, so what will be the backup?
Yeah, I will answer this question. Yes.
Yeah.
See, basically, the syllabus is similar, all right, because human body is similar everywhere. And you have to prepare 2.5 years. You have to complete the basic sciences and you have to prepare for USMLE Step 1. whenever you prepare for USMLE Step 1, every semester you have to write 3 exams, block exams. So the type of the exam is similar to the USMLE examination, so that your preparation happen over there. Then directly university won't allow you to write USMLE Step 1. Before that, you have to clear your NBME, National Board of Medical Examination exam. And if you score there 70%, then only university allow you to write Step 1. Once you score 70% marks in NBME, so 100% you can go through USMLE Step 1. Okay. So this is what you have to work hard and you have to get it done. Basically, this program is designed to become a doctor in USA. And once you clear your USMLE Step 1, university is having their own hospitals, 2 hospitals in USA, where you can complete your clinical rotations. And then you have to write USMLE Step 2. There are 2 examinations, CK and CS. Okay, now see, unfortunately, if you are not able to crack it, so after completion of your MD, if you are willing to come back to India, you have to write this MCI screening test. All right, now MCI is no more existing. So that is called NEXT, National Exit Test. Okay, and you can practice back in India. If you would like to practice in USA or stay in USA and prepare yourself for USMLE, then you have to go for assistant physician program. That is 2 years master's program of assistant physician. If you complete their assistant physician program, then without writing USMLE, you are allowed to work in USA as an assistant physician, not physician, assistant physician. And simultaneously, you can prepare for your USMLE examination. And whenever you crack it, you can become physician. Okay, so this is the backup plan. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm listening again and again this clinical rotations. What is it exactly?
Yeah, basically US pattern is totally different. First 2.5 years you are doing theoretical part, and after cracking USMLE Step 1, you have to go for clinicals, clinical rotation. Why it is called rotation? Because there are different departments like psychiatry, general medicine, internal medicine. Okay, so different departments, and you have to go and work there 10 to 12 weeks each of the department, so that you will get enough exposure of each department. You will get to know about the diseases, about the drugs and all, how doctor interact with the student. So you will get that exposure and experience, which will help you in clearing your Step 2, as well as you will prepare yourself how to handle the patients. All right. So this is what we say internship here in India. All right. So that is more than internship over there in USA. So you need to spend 2 years. That is totally practical exposure. That is called clinical rotations. All right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Sir,
Parag here. Mr. Dhar,
Yes, please.
Mr. Kamendra, I have a question. So you mean to say after completing MD, after 2.5 years, if you clear the NBME, then it's equivalent to MBBS in India?
No, I said this is a basic science. After basic sciences, you can write Step 1. Unless you complete your rotations, you are not equivalent to MBBS in India. So equivalent to MBBS, it will be after 4.5 years.
So like the previous speaker was asking you regarding after completing 2.5 years, if he's not able to crack the USMLE, he'll not be able to go there to US. So then what's the option? That's what I could understand from him.
See, basically, I told him first step you have to crack, and why the success rate is high. I told him if he is not able to go for the Step 2, then after completion of his MD, 4.5 years, he can go for this physician assistant program. Step 1 is mandatory for this program. Hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after completing USMLE step 2 without doing residency, is a person considered an MD?
Yes, residency is masters. Basically, what we say masters over here. So that is a specialization. So there is a matching program. You need to select the specialization, and then hospitals and professor will help you how to apply to the different hospitals for the specialization. And once you go there, your master's degree, that is residency's master's degree, you will get a stipend. And after completion of that, you have to write USMLE step 3. Then only you will get recognition, and you can practice in USA, you can practice in UK, Holland, Canada, and back in India. If you come, you don't need to write any exam to practice back in India. So that is step 3. That is a master's program.
So that is mandatory, right? Like, because we cannot, they cannot practice in the US without doing residency is what I've heard.
Yeah, basically what happened in case of USA, in case of UK and European country, in India, we consider doctor after MBBS. Okay, after bachelor's degree, we consider, yes, person can practice independently. But in this developed country, unless and until you are masters, you are having master degree, they won't consider you as a doctor, and you cannot practice independently. So to practice in USA, it is mandatory to complete your residency.
Okay, so the finding the match and getting into a residency program, that is totally on the student's responsibility, right? So your the SMU's job ends at USMLE step 2. Is that true?
No, it is not like that. It is not like that. See, we always help the student even in matching program. I think Lalit sir, are you there? So how we help
Yes, sir.
student in the matching program, Lalit sir will explain you better. Lalit sir, please.
Okay, so the way it works is that, first of all, we have hospitals that have residency programs. And even the hospital that we just acquired in Illinois, Galesburg, we're applying for a residency programs at that hospital as well. So all students know what the residency programs are and how to work, how these residency programs work, and how to apply for these residency programs. The system is very transparent. You go online and we tell the students, and if they have any questions, although they know by the time, one second, they have the residency programs during the rotations. So they learn how the resident doctors work. If there are any questions, they ask questions about how to prepare for the residency applications, how to apply, and stuff like that. So it's not solely students or a graduate's responsibility to find their programs. It's very easy relatively to find out where they need to apply and how they can apply for the residency programs. If there is any specific questions about residency programs, I would be more than happy to answer, because it's such a very broad term that it covers a lot of things and has a lot of questions, but it's simply it's a very simple process.
Okay, and how does one stay back? Like right now, if they go there, it's I think on student visa, right? So after completing USMLE 2, what would be the status of any student, and how much of window do they get to get themselves into a residency program? And
okay, so the students come here on a B1, B2 visa. They don't come here on a student visa, first of all. And after that, they finish their education, and when they're ready to apply for residency, they apply for a J1 visa, which is a visitor exchange visa. And after they finish their residency, they apply for a H1B visa under physician category. And during the H1B visa, they apply for a green card. That's how it works. Yeah.
So anybody is having any question related to the support from the hospital? And one more thing I would like to add here. We have two hospitals, Pontiac General Hospital and Galsburg Cottage Hospital. So we also have some residency spots in this hospital. So student may get opportunity to complete their residency in these hospitals as well.
We have a graduate who is doing a residency here, and there's a lot of, I don't think anybody who has passed USMLE step and step 2 and hasn't gotten residency. So I don't think that's a problem, to be honest. If the student is good and they have passed all these steps, there's a lot of opportunities here in the US.
Hello? Hello, sir?
Yes,
Yes.
please. Yeah, continue.
Sir, what about the communication, sir? Is it different or is it like, what I mean to say is if I have any problem with understanding the topics or particular thing, how do I approach professors, sir?
Well, you can always set up a one-on-one session with the professor. Usually that is not the case. I think the way you're speaking English is exactly how it's spoken, and that's how people communicate. But even if there is something that you don't understand and are having difficulty understanding, you can always send an email to the professor and set up a time to talk about it and set up a one-on-one session for more help.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure, no problem.
Yes, any other question?
Mr. Dahat, I would like to add something.
Yes.
I was listening to one Mr. Aditya Kamble. He was asking about some research work, right? So I represented St. Martin's University in the US at national level in Michigan for a research poster. So I have submitted, and I was the only student presenting over there among 150 residents from all over US. Now, I was the only student from Caribbean. There were 6 other students, but they were from US medical schools. So so this is to Mr. Aditya Kamble. There are opportunities where you can present your research posters. You can research on something, and then the hospital campus and the attending physicians, they can help you get through. You can talk to them and they can help you, present a research level too.
Yes, sorry, I completely forgot about that. And molded do a research poster. I completely forgot, yeah.
Aditya, you got your answer? Aditya, are you there? Hello? Okay. Next question, please.
How many seats are available reserved for India? Is there any reservation, or how many total? What is the intake size? Intake number of seats for the university?
For university admission?
Yes.
Yes. As of now, we are accepting 120 students and students from all over the world. So first come, first serve basis, we are issuing offer letter to the students.
And
yes.
When will be the academic year starts?
Academic year already it is started from 1st of September. We started our first batch, and next batch we are going to start end of the October. Basically, because of the COVID this year, there is a delay in starting academic. The actual start date of our university is 4th of August, and second intake is 4th of February. So there are 2 intakes in 1 year, 4th of August and 4th of February. Because of COVID and because of delay in the NEET result, we are starting another batch in the month of October, end of October. Yes, any other question?
One question I have on the process, right? After 2 years of studying the subjects, right? And then we go to, the students go to the clinicals in the US. So before that itself, the USMLE 1 should be passed, is it? Otherwise, they don't get to go there.
Yes, true.
Okay. And does the university itself has some qualifying examinations apart from USMLE 1?
NBME.
Okay. And that is what you said, that one should get 70% before one can go to
Yes,
USMLE 1.
yes, yes.
Okay. And if students are not able to clear it in first attempt, they are given 1 or 2 more attempts. How many number of attempts do they get?
Student can appear for a number of the attempts for USMLE, but what happened if student complete like say 3-4 times attempts he has given for the USMLE step 1, there is a one rule of the USMLE that within 7 years student need to complete step 1, step 2 and step 3. If he fail to do so, then student need to repeat from step 1. Even if he clears step 1 and if he is not completed his step 3 within 7 years, then he has to repeat step 1. So that's the reason NBME comes into picture. And unless and until university get assurance that yes, students is well prepared and is ready to go for the USMLE step 1, university won't allow student to write step 1. So that's the reason whatever students they are giving step 1 right now, 100% they are cracking that in first attempt. Yeah.
Got it. So which means that in case they are not able to clear first one, you will ensure
they
that
need to repeat NBME. Yes, they need to
repeat MBME. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Ultimately, the path is that they have to go through this USMLE step 1.
Yes, sir. Yes,
cover complete the clinicals and do the USMLE step 2.
Yes.
In between, you cannot think of coming back to India and all that because the degree is not complete yet.
Yes, true, true, true.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Any other question, please?
Yeah, this is Parag here. It's to the students, rather Anmol and Anchal. It's regarding what's there is when they appeared for USMLE 1, what was the time they had taken after the final clearing the NBME?
The time taken by any student, it depends, very individual. It's a very individual. I have seen some students, they will be ready right after their first basic science 2.5 years. And I have seen some, they will take some extra time. It is because so this appearing for your step USMLE exam is not, it's not like a race, like I have to give before him or her, but it's more of your preparation. But I would personally suggest, I took time, not much, but yes, I did took some time. But I wanted to be sure that when I sit for the exam, I get it through. Because it makes a big difference whether, and that's the reason there are NBMEs that can make you feel much more confident for writing the actual exam.
Completely agree with that, and that's the reason. It's important for you to pay attention and do the basic sciences properly.
So generally, how much time did you take it? I'm sorry, I'm getting personal. This thing.
It just depends, because as soon as you clear your NBME, I don't think you should take more than 6 months to do it. But clearing the NBME is the hard part.
So it's also from the day one, like the MD 1, 2, 3, and 4, they are structured. They are structured in the MCQ format. And MCQ is multiple choice questions, and these are the same questions. The format is being asked in USMLE. So you can just brush off your syllabus and then you can appear for your exams.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Kshitij, you are also there. Can you please tell how much time you took to prepare for USMLE step 1 after clearing your basic sciences? Please. Kshitij is also there. Yeah.
Everyone is different, but it can be done, I think, within 6 months to 1 year. It shouldn't take more than that. After clearing NBME, I straight up registered and gave my USMLE in 3 months, because it takes time to register for USMLE step 1. It's a process, but people will guide you through it, and it shouldn't take more than 6 months to, as Anchal said, 6 months to 7 months, especially if you're done NBME.
Yeah, and it goes same for the step 2 CKs also. When you're studying for clinical sciences, you're already doing the clinical rotation.
The USMLE ones are MCQ, is it? mostly?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
There are two. Yes, there are 280 questions. They are in block of 40 questions.
Okay. And what about the MDME? Is that the
NBME consists of 450 question block, comprises a total of 200 questions, and it's like a simulator test for the actual exam.
Okay.
So it is a very standardized exam. It's a National Board of Medical Examiners. They conduct it.
Anybody's having any question now related to this step 1 and NBME or maybe clinical rotations?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, I am from MD2, studying in SMU itself. I have a question like, how do you do the clinical rotations? Like you have to complete 2-3 departments together, or you do one particular department, then you get examination, then you go to another department, or you have to complete all the departments and then you have a final exam.
So basically, we do like not. So there are actually something called shelf exams. So those exams are after every single core. Okay, every core rotation that you finish, you can take it. We're in a process of implementing the shelf exams after every single rotation from like this year or next year. So, or you can take it yourself. It just depends. But yeah, and then CK is the main exam which you can take after finishing all your core rotations or your electives as well. It just depends from student to student.
There is no compulsion that you have to complete one department and then you have to get the exam.
There will be now that the new batch of students that will come will have to do shelf exam after every single core rotation.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yes. Thank you very much. Is anybody is having any question? I invite Lalit sir to speak about the accreditation. Many people are asking about the accreditation of the university. As all of you know that CAM, HP and ACCM, that accreditation is required. But again, there is a rule like till 2024, it is not required. And CAM HP itself is having accreditations or say up to 2022. So our university is having ECFMG accreditation and our student can go for the residency. Lalit sir, can you speak about this?
Yeah, sure, sir. So first of all, I think there is a lot of misconception about accreditation, and a lot of people have heard about these accreditation agencies and regulations from third parties, which is not clear. So first of all, I would like to simplify this for everybody to understand what accreditation is and what the guidelines are. So anybody can graduate from any medical school or university that is listed on World Directory of Medical Schools at this point until 2024. So 4 years from now, you're good. You don't really have to worry about accreditation. The second thing is that is even not sure because of the COVID situation at this point, and I don't know how long it's going to go. A lot of accreditation agencies that are giving accreditation, for example, ACCM, CAM HP, they're not even accredited by LCME, which is the US accreditation body, to give them accreditation to the medical schools. That's number 2 problem. Number 3 is that accreditation is a process that if you have a medical school, if there's a medical school and there are students coming in and they're studying and graduating and passing USMLE and practicing in the world, there is a process that is documented and submitted to the accreditation agencies, and they review it and approve and give you the accreditation. And if there is anything that they want you to follow, they have some sort of a set of standards that they would like you to follow. And if you follow that, the university gets an accreditation. So accreditation is not such a big deal that people think it is. It's just a matter of having a certification under your belt that everybody. And also we have applied for ACCM. We applied for ACCM last year, but because of COVID, everything got delayed. We are applying for CAMHP this year. We would have applied for CAMHP because of the COVID, everything delayed. So there are delays, a lot of delays because of COVID and this worldwide pandemic situation. But we're not late in terms of accreditation. We're on time and our students are graduating. They're doing really well. We're making a lot of improvements, and we're the only medical school in the Caribbean or in the world that has a US hospital that offers residency programs. And our students are happy. And as far as I know, I mean, I'm not one of the medical students, but there's a lot of medical students who I have seen, and I'm very proud of the fact that our students are doing really well, and they get the opportunity to work with and rotate with the resident doctors who are almost going to be licensed physicians in the US and working independently. So, and we have Kshitij and Anchal, Anmol, and there's a lot of other students who are part of the program right now, and these are very good students, and I would be more than happy to introduce them to anybody in the world, and give my recommendation to speak with any of these students, because these are serious students and they have done an exceptional job, and they have taken medicine very seriously, and they have made the professors, administration, and the university proud. So if there's any specific questions about education, there's specific questions about accreditation, there's specific questions about the guidelines and whether you can take your USMLE in 2022, 2023, or 24, I would be more than happy to help, and also recommend a reference.
Lalit sir, sorry to interrupt you. Lalit sir.
Yes, sir.
You're not audible. Please speak loudly. You're not audible.
Okay, is it better?
Yes, now it is better.
Okay, so what I'm asking is if there's any specific questions about accreditation or guidelines, I would be more than happy to have answer. But at this point, we're good. Our students are able to take USMLE exams. They're able to apply for residency programs anywhere in the US. If our students want to go back to India and take the MCA screening test, they're okay for that. If they want to go to Canada, they're okay with that. So if there's any question related to the school's accreditation or recognition from any of the government or any country, please let me know if there's any questions.
Yeah, Mr. Lalit, this is Parag here.
Sure, yes,
so I wanted to, since you're asking for the specific question, I wanted to know, after completing the 2.5 years course at Curaçao, so post 2024, what difference it will make for qualifying to be eligible for appearing for USMLE?
Sir, the process is going to be the same, and if anything changes by the government after 4 years, I don't know, but I think it's not going to be anything that people cannot do.
And basically, if that since accreditation is not so important, why normally you even Martinez and other colleges are going for CAMS HP and CAMS HP and other these things?
No, we have applied for ACCM and CAM HP is not as detailed as ACCM. So we have applied for a more detailed one, which is ACCM, and it's an Irish accreditation.
So what impact it has? If you have that,
it doesn't have any. It's the same. It's just an accreditation. All ECFMG cares about, all the US government cares about is that if you are coming from if you are applying as a medical student applying for a USMLE step, you must come out of a school that is accredited by one of the accreditation agencies in the world, and that is after 2024. So you have 4 years for that.
Okay. And at present, so you have the accreditation for USMLE steps.
We do, yes.
Yeah.
And our
But 20,
students are taking it. Our students are taking and
yes.
passing USMLE, and they're also applying for residency in the US or in Canada. And if they want to go to UK, they're good to go anywhere.
The problem is after 2024. Yeah. So and then you people are preparing for it.
We have already applied for it. We applied for it last year, but because of COVID, everything delayed this year.
So in this case, the students who are joining this batch, suppose in the February 21, so most probably they'll be going for preparing for they'll be appearing for USMLE step 1 by before
Right.
24. So in that
Absolutely.
case, but when they appear go for USMLE step 2, they might it might be more than 2024. So in that case, what will be the impact?
Sir, we have applied for the accreditation. And if God forbid everything goes well, we will have the accreditation next year. In 2021, we don't have to wait for until 2024 or anything after. I mean, it's just everything delayed because of COVID, as I mentioned, because we applied for accreditation last year in 2019.
Parag sir, I would like to add something here. It is nowhere mentioned in ECFMG that you need to have a CAM-HP accreditation. It is mentioned there you need to have the accreditation from the body which is recognized World Medical Federation. And there are two bodies given for the Curaçao and Caribbean. One is CAM-HP and other one is ACCM. If you go to the World Medical Federation website, you will find the recognition of CAM-HP itself is going to expire in May 2022. And recognition of ACCM will expire in December 2026. So that's the reason we are more keen to get ACCM. And one more thing, whatever requirement is there to get CAM-HP or ACCM accreditation, we have more than that. We fulfill all the requirements. So it is not an issue that we'll not get that. We'll get that, but as of now, we don't require that. Till 2024, we don't require that. And if recognition of CAM-HP is going to expire in 22, so what is the point in taking that now? So that's the reason, and there is no problem for our student, even they go in 25 or 26, because university own their own hospitals, 2 hospitals, and university will keep running and student will keep going for the USMLE step 1 and residency. So don't worry about that. University will take care of everything. Okay, sir?
Yeah, okay, yeah, but 2024 post this thing, if a student, I'm worried whether if certain accreditations are not there, then they cannot go for USMLE steps.
Sir, it is not a question now. See, after 2024, you need to have that accreditation to continue ECFMG accreditation. And already we applied and we are confident that within next 6 months we'll get it. Okay, because of the COVID, there is a delay. We fulfill all the requirements, and more than that, we're having the facilities, whatever is the requirement for the accreditation, getting accreditation. So don't worry about that, 101% will get it.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome, sir. Yes,
Okay, is there any other questions regarding accreditation, sir?
Sorry?
Is there any other questions regarding accreditation?
I don't think so now. Anybody is having question about accreditation? No. Okay,
Okay.
Lalit.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, no problem. Thank you. Right.
Now you can ask the questions related to anything about the program duration, success rate of the students, or students are also there. You can ask about their preparation, challenges, and facilities in university and hospitals, tuition fee, anything, or you can ask anything now. No problem. We'll discuss now.
Well, I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
So could you speak about students who have been successful there, or the successful rate, sir?
Sorry?
Successful rate, sir. I need some information about successful rate.
Success in what? Completion of basic sciences or MD, or how it is?
MD, sir. MD, sir. MD and basic science both, sir.
Yeah. Basically, if you go through our presentation, till last year, there was a success rate of 94%. And this year, we are having about 100% success rate. So what happened, whenever student go and study there, he has to study, he has to work hard. Professors are there, curriculum is set, and exam timetable is set likewise. So that if the student has to do the hard work, and there is 100% success to the student. There is a pattern, like if student is not able to pass all the major subject, then he has to go for the remedial. So within 1 month, he has to clear that subject. If he failed to clear that subject in remedial as well, then he has to repeat the semester. So this is the pattern. Hello?
Hello. Yes, sir. I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
Sir.
So there is 100% success for the student, and even in remedial also 95% student they clear it. Only 5% student they cannot clear, they need to repeat the semester. So if student is serious about the study, 100% student can clear it.
Okay, sir. And is any exams like NEET, which is conducted by NTA, is required for admissions in abroad, sir, like in your university?
No, there is no any exam required. Even NEET is not required. If NEET is there, we accept that. If there is no NEET, we accept the student without NEET. And there is an interview whenever you apply. So our dean or maybe faculty will conduct the Zoom meeting with the student and will conduct interview of the student. So if student crack that interview, he will get admitted in the university.
Right, sir. And so having so without any kind of entrance exams, having admissions in abroad wouldn't affect my future, sir. I mean, whenever I just wanted to get certified and I have to work or practice in India.
Basically, see, what is the expectation of MCI? It was like 50% in PCB. That means they set already criteria. If you are scoring 50% in physics, chemistry, and biology, that means you are able or eligible to go for the admission. Okay. Before, there was no NEET test. Okay. So all the MBBS admissions, they were taking on the basis of PCB percentage. Okay. So now this criteria, because see what happened, as long as there is a competition and competition is going to be increased, 16 lakhs of the student, they are appearing for NEET test, and there are only about say 70,000 to 80,000 seats are available. So that's the reason NEET come into picture. In this country, there is no that competition. So there is no any entrance examination. Only our faculty just check whether the student is keen and student is having sufficient knowledge to complete the MBBS program. So accordingly, we select the student. So this is our selection criteria.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. And second thing is like on the basis of same selection criteria, we selected the student and the students are studying there. They crack USMLE, students are in front of you. So I don't think there is any problem in the future of the student. Future will be bright, definitely.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
Mr. Das, I would like to add something. As per the NMC, the National Medical Council, which is counterpart of MCI now, they are going to have exit test. So I guess till date in India, it was you just write your exam, you get done with it, you can start practicing. But from NMC, that won't be the case. They will be having a strict exit test, like they have to crack before. And I guess personally, this is my opinion, why not use that energy and write USMLE step 1 rather than writing a the exit test they have now. And they have already implemented that in India.
Yeah, I have a question. Not in America, I think the students do 4 years of medical, and then they get into this med school by clearing I think some
MCAT.
test, MCAT. Yeah. So, but the students who are getting into MSU are coming in after their 12th. So, is there something that they miss out? Because this appears like a shortcut to get into US. So is there any repercussion, or is there something that you miss out?
There are no repercussions because there are a lot of students who come from who want to get done with it early. There are quite a few students in our university who come from US or Canada straight just to save the 4 years. But
yes.
Yeah, so it is just the requirements of the US medical schools that you have to have a 4-year bachelor's. But in the Caribbean, you can start right from the high school after 12th. And there are no repercussions. There are people who are doing the residencies and like that.
Okay, so if a US student wants to get into this school, they get treated as a foreign medical graduate. That's the only difference, right?
Yes.
They pass through the Caribbean school, then they come into the category of a foreign medical graduate. So they
Yes, ma'am. Anything offshore the mainland is considered as FMGs, foreign medical graduates.
But whether it's foreign medical graduate or the US passed out, the qualifying examinations remain the same, right?
That is one for all. That is a very standardized exam. USMLE has to be taken by everyone to get match into residency programs.
Yeah.
And how is it viewed, like a person who's passed out from Caribbean as against a person who's passed out from the US medical school? Are they kind of treated in a second grade or something like that? Not given that kind of respect?
No, that won't be a case at all, because the treatment, there's a very fair treatment. You are a bright student, you're getting good marks, you have cried your USMLEs, you'll be sitting in the same interviews from whether a student from Harvard or Stanford is sitting. You just have to be, outsmart yourself, and you'll be, if the program director or the program, you get through it. So this is how it works. First, you get your USMLE exams, right? You get your marks. Then you apply for the programs. Then they will see through your, all the MSPs that the university helps you write it, and letter of recommendations from the attending physician. Then you will be called for an interview. Once you're called for interview, it's like a same game for everyone. Whether you're from Harvard, Stanford, UCLA, St. Martin, St. George, whatever university is.
Okay.
Yes, Rupa ma'am, your question was like, say, MCAT and why there is no MCAT for SMU. Basically, whenever students go to the US medical school, they need to complete their pre-medical sciences for 4 years. And for pre-medical sciences, to get admission for pre-medical sciences, even if you are not having biology subject in your 11th and 12th, you can get admission. In IB school, you have to have only 2 science subjects. If you are having like physics and mathematics, and still if you are willing to become a doctor, you can apply for the pre-medical sciences. And during these 4 years, they will prepare you like for your 12th standard, 11th standard, physics, chemistry, biology, and introductory subjects. And after that, student need to write MCAT, and then student need to complete 2 years of the basic sciences. Same thing, students are completing in Curaçao as well. And after these 2 years, student need to complete their clinical rotations for 2 years. So 2 years basic sciences, 2 years clinical rotations, and 4 years preparation for the MCAT. So our students already studied physics, chemistry, and biology. That is the basic criteria to get admission. That's the reason MCAT is not required. And rest of the 4 years, yes, 2 years for the basic sciences and 2 years for the clinical rotation. Same pattern we are following. And as you told, like say, is there anything like a US student will get a residency and non-US student will not get residency? Basically, there are about 34,000 seats in 2020. There are about 34,000 seats for the residency in USA. And there are 18,000 students, they pass out, those are the US citizen or pass out from the US school. So all of them, even they get it, so still we are having 15,000 seats for the non-US medical graduates. And that's the reason competition is not that high. Student can get residency. Yes, any other question anybody's having?
Sir, this is Amrita. Can you explain the whole program shortly in Hindi quickly for the parents who are not able to understand English?
Yes, definitely. ये जो प्रोग्राम है 4.5 years का प्रोग्राम है. इसमें सबसे पहले एक जो 6 महीने होते हैं उसको MD0 कहते हैं, जिसको हम 4 साल गवाते हैं यूएस में प्री मेडिकल साइंस के लिए. उसके बाद 2 साल में हमारा बेसिक मेडिकल साइंस होता है. बेसिकली 2.5 years, 2.5 साल बच्चा जो है कुरासाओ में सेंट मार्टिनस यूनिवर्सिटी के कैंपस में पढ़ता है. साथ ही साथ उसका USMLE का प्रिपरेशन होता है. उसके बाद उसको NBME एक टेस्ट देनी पड़ती है. एंड आफ्टर दैट ही हैज टू राइट USMLE स्टेप 1. USMLE स्टेप 1 पास करने के बाद सेंट मार्टिनस यूनिवर्सिटी का खुद का हॉस्पिटल है जो कि यूएस में है, एक मिशिगन में है और एक इलिनॉइस में है. 2 हॉस्पिटल्स है. तो कॉन्टैक्ट जनरल हॉस्पिटल में स्टूडेंट जाते हैं क्लिनिकल रोटेशंस करने के लिए एंड ऑल 6 रोटेशन दे कैन कंप्लीट अंडर 1 रूफ. ये सारे रोटेशंस होने के बाद स्टूडेंट को USMLE स्टेप 2 देनी है और ये स्टेप 2 देने के बाद ही बिकम अ डॉक्टर इक्विवेलेंट टू MBBS डॉक्टर इन इंडिया. उसके बाद रेसिडेंसी उसको करनी है, तो रेसिडेंसी के लिए उसको मैचिंग प्रोग्राम में जाना पड़ता है. रेसिडेंसी के लिए वहां पे अप्लाई करना पड़ता है. सो ही मे गेट एडमिशन इन एनी ऑफ द टीचिंग हॉस्पिटल फॉर द रेसिडेंसी. और जब रेसिडेंसी को बच्चा जाता है तो उसको कोई फीस पे नहीं करनी है. ही इज गेटिंग स्टाइपेंड एंड स्टाइपेंड इज मिनिमम $50,000 पर ईयर. तो साल का उसको $50,000 मिलना स्टार्ट हो जाता है आफ्टर क्लियरिंग हिज USMLE स्टेप 2. And then 3 years minimum residency he has to complete and then he has to write USMLE step 3. जब step 3 तुम्हारा हो जाता है तो you can practice as a doctor in USA. आप कनाडा में भी प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो, यूके में भी कर सकते हो और इंडिया में आने के बाद भी आपको स्क्रीनिंग टेस्ट लिखे बगैर यहाँ पे आप रजिस्ट्रेशन लेके प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो. तो इस तरह से ये प्रोग्राम है 4.5 साल का इक्विवेलेंट टू MBBS और 3 साल बाद में आपको रेसिडेंसी, मतलब जिसे हम मास्टर स्पेशलाइजेशन कहते हैं, वो स्पेशलाइजेशन मिलता है. आई होप आई एक्सप्लेन अमृता.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
आपको कुछ इसमें और कुछ पूछना है प्रोग्राम के बारे में, आप पूछ सकते हो.
To get admission into this university, you said one is +2 you should have cleared. Secondly, you talked about some interview. What can you talk a bit about the interview part?
Yeah, basically one of the faculty or maybe dean, they send you the Zoom link and they will conduct interview of the student. So they set their own question for the student and then they reach to the conclusion whether to accept the student or not to accept the student.
These questions are like technical in nature?
See, question is like say about overall personality of the student. It is not like pure academic, but overall personality of student, how cooperative is the student, what is the thinking of the student, and if he admitted in the university, so how keen he is to complete his medical education, why he is willing to become a doctor. So all these questions he has to answer.
Okay.
Yes, anybody is having any question?
What about the transfer students?
Transfer student from which country?
From China or India?
Yeah, basically in case of the transfer student, you need to submit the transcript of the student. It will go to the admission team. Then tutor will do the evaluation, and tutor will come to know if how many modules student completed, so that student may get exemption from those modules, and then he will get lateral entry. So that if he completed suppose first year module, so he will get admission for the second year. But frankly telling, if the student is studying MBBS program from two different universities, then MCI and now NMC is not recognizing that program. So after completion of MBBS, if student come to India, he is not able to write next. But yes, if student complete his residency in USA, in that case, there is no any problem.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Yes, any other question? Yes, now we have St. Martin's students as well. Those are studying in MD0, MD1, MD2, MD3 and MD4. So now you are having here Kshitiz and Anmol and Aanchal. They all completed their step 1 and they are completing their rotations. So if you need any guidance from them, you can ask them as well. Students, you can ask the question if you are having any confusion about the preparation of your USMLE or NBME, whatever questions you are having, you can ask them as well. So that idea will be cleared, and straight away you can go and you can prepare and you can get success. No question? Sarvesh?
Yes, sir.
Any question for this student about your USMLE preparation, or any confusion you are having about that?
No, sir, I'm clear now. Thank you.
Welcome. Vidyut?
No, sir, I'm cleared, sir.
Okay, good. Now we have our associates and our partners over here. So they speak with various parents and students. So I invite them, if you are having any confusion, any questions you are not able to answer, or it is not clear about the program, you can ask to this student. Already they gone through that. So I invite Mr. Guru and Ram Pandey sir. Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, I have one question. Personally, so many parents are asking me this question. The university, okay, it's fine for UG and PG program, but after PG, they want to go for super specialization, that means DM. Whether it is possible, after residency, they can go for DM program in India. Lalit sir.
No, Lalit sir is having important meeting, so he went.
Okay. Anmol, if you have any idea about this particular thing, can any specialization do after residency in India?
In India, I'm not much aware about that thing, but talking about the US, let's say a student who wants to residency for internal medicine and then they want to do histology, that is considered a super specialization in US, and they can go from histology to histology, transplant, that is subspecialty. But I'm personally not much aware about the how does it work in India.
Yes, next question, please.
Sir, we have covered all the questions.
Sir,
From my
when would be
side,
the next
everything
scholarship
is
exam?
Next scholarship exam will held on 25th of October.
25th of October. Please tell about scholarship, sir.
Yeah, we do have scholarship. We conduct test as well. And in the test, the syllabus is NEET syllabus. Total score is 60 marks, 30 marks based on your biology, 15 on chemistry and 15 for the physics. And if students score more than 90%, he is eligible to get 13,000 scholarship. And likewise, if we score less, then it depends on the university authority. They declare the scholarship for the student. Our students are getting scholarship right from 1,000 to 13,000. And even when students go to the university and study there are certain scholarships if students maintain their GPA and if students score certain marks in USMLE, so there are scholarships. So altogether, if you calculate about $20,000 to $23,000 scholarship student can avail if they work hard. So
This year, my 2 students has got scholarship.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
What is the fee structure for the course?
Yes, sir. Fee structure is $55,000 for entire 4.5 years. This is only tuition fee. You need to pay in 5 installment. First installment, whenever you get a conditional offer letter, that time you have to pay $9,400. After that, we'll apply for the landing permit. Once you get landing permit, that time you have to pay $6,800. And then straight away next year, you have to pay $12,850. Next year, $12,950, and next year, $12,950. So this is the fee structure. In 5 installment you can pay. Apart from the fees, there is a hostel fee. So hostel, like accommodation and food, it includes 2 meals, Wi-Fi facility, electricity, all utility bills. So that is $4,650 per year per student in the sharing room. And the sharing room is like 3+ student in one room. Room is totally AC room with refrigerator and mattresses and cots. So this kind of facilities students are getting. 2 meals are included in this. Meal is like choice of the student, veg and non-veg. Both type of the meal is available. So lunch and dinner student is getting. Breakfast is not included into this.
Sir, we are providing Indian meal to
Yes.
the students.
Indian meal
food is
available.
also available.
I have a question.
Yes, please, ma'am.
Due to network issues, I couldn't hear about the total expenditure, sir. Could you just tell me the overall expenditure, sir?
Yeah, total expenditure including flight ticket and pocket money of the student, you can consider $100 per month pocket money for his detergent, milk and all.
Yeah.
So it goes to about 60 lakh rupees altogether.
Altogether, okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes,
Thank you.
welcome. So anybody can talk about the student, existing student, about the lectures, your timetable, and food you are getting in the university. Yes.
How many hours is the class taken, sir, per day?
Per day class.
Yeah.
Yeah, it start at mostly 8 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
and last till some days 3 o'clock, some days 5 o'clock. Purva, can you tell about this?
Yeah, sure. So about the food, right?
About the class, duration of the class, your timetable, and about food. Yes.
Okay. So let's start with the class. The duration is usually 2 hours. So what we basically do is it depends like on which MD you are. So you would have classes from 8 a.m. to around 5 p.m. It's not necessarily like every day you would have the same timetable, but it really depends like how many subjects you have. And then sometimes you have 2 classes or sometimes you have 3. So you have like 8 to 10, 10 to 12, and then you get a lunch break for an hour. And then again 1 to 3 and then 3 to 5. So that's the maximum number of classes you would have. If you have, say, anatomy lab, for example, then that day you would have 1 class less. That is only the case in MD1 students. So in MD1, they basically cover all the human anatomy. So that's the only time you have to go into an anatomy lab. But that day you would have 1 class less. And the food, we do get Indian food there. And every day they prepare non-veg as well as vegetarian for the, yeah. And so they have a fixed menu throughout the week. But if you want to like there to be certain changes in the menu, so what they do is every semester, I think at the beginning of the semester, everyone gathers in the conference room, and you just if you want something to change in the menu, they just take a majority vote. And if you want to change something, like it's decided, like if a lot of people want to, if a majority people want to change something, then they change it. But like the menu, it's fixed throughout the semester, like they fix it for every week.
All right. Thank you, Purva.
Purva, I have one question for you. New students who are going there in Curaçao campus, they are asking me, sir, after going there, my daughter, my son, he may face homesickness problem. So what kind of help is available from the university to tackle
Okay.
with this particular?
Well,
Yeah.
so the thing is that it's really close quarters. Everyone lives in this like one campus. So you can like really talk to anyone. People are really friendly. It's not like a hostile environment. And secondly, recently, the school had a student counselor appointed. So if you have any issues that you need to deal with, you could just email the counselor, and then she can set you up for a one-on-one time, or she usually comes, I guess, Tuesdays. So you can just meet up with her then, and you can talk about whatever is bothering you. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Purva. Kshitij, can you please talk about what kind of food you are getting in Pontiac General Hospital? Do you cook or you are getting ready-made food? And how is the accommodation facility at Pontiac General Hospital? And how busy students are during the rotations, please?
So regarding food, the breakfast and lunch are served in the hospital, and the timing for breakfast is 8 to 9:30, and lunch is served from I think 12 to 1. So the food is, it's American food. They have a chicken, fried chicken. Sometimes they have a salad bar and drinks. All kind of drinks are included. Then they have cold meat, sandwiches, and sandwiches, French fries. Basically, the kind of food you get in the US. And breakfast and lunch is served. It's healthy. It doesn't cost much. it only costs $4 to $5 to sometimes $6 if you want to pay. But and regarding rotations, it depends on which kind of rotation you are in. For example, if you're on the medicine floor, you will be there for 9 to 12 hours, depending on your shift. And regarding on the medicine floor, you'll be there for 12 hours. And regarding in outpatient rotations like family medicine, pediatrics, the timing is from 8 to 1, and on Friday it starts at 9:30. And then there are 2 shifts, 1 to 5, and there's a lunch break in between 12 to 1, when you have noon conferences in which the residents and the attending and the medical students all come together in a conference room, and we do questions, sometimes presentations. There's a separate timetable for that. So it's a teaching. You get to know. You basically you basically learn from your patients as well, and you learn from the attendings in the noon conferences. Yeah, that's it. If you're on surgery, then the timings are different, depends on the case. You might be there for 12 hours, you might be there for maybe 3 hours, and it's nice. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Kshitij.
Yeah.
Yes. Any question anybody is having? Other question?
Dahat sir.
Yes, sir. Bola.
Yes, I have one question.
Yes.
When students go in Pontiac or some Galesburg new hospital added our university, what is the arrangement there for all students accommodated in the hostel or some students to stay outside? What is the priority? I mean, all students are accommodated in hostel or some students should live in outside?
Yes, Kshitij, please.
So you can in Pontiac General Hospital, the hospital has its own apartments, and you can the hospital provides rent. The hospital, you can stay here in the apartment complexes built by the hospital, which the hospital basically owns, and it's nice. It's really close by. It's close to the hospital. You don't need to it's not a far distance. You can basically see the hospital from the window. It's a 5-minute walk. And you can also you can also rent you can also stay in houses outside of the apartment complexes. And I think you have to talk to the landowner, and you have to pay rent still. I live in the apartment complexes built by the hospital. It's really nice. I think a few residents also live here, and it's really close by. I really like it here because basically for me the main issue is distance. It's really close by. You can just walk. It's a 2-story apartment. It's actually 3-story apartment. There's a basement where we have a washing machine and a dryer. And then the ground floor where we have the kitchen and the sofa. And then we have two rooms, or sometimes 3 rooms depending on the apartment. And 1 washroom. It's all carpeted. We have central heating here, and we have the coils to cook on, and we have all the cutlery and everything, utensils. You can cook your food. You can order food too if that's your thing. Go ahead. But yeah, that's it. I cook my food. So you can order also sometimes. We have there's a pizza place nearby. There's I think a shopping complex, a grocery store nearby. There's a petrol pump nearby, and it's really convenient. It's not tough. It's very convenient here.
Okay.
Thank you, Kshitij. So apartments are available, and the student can either stay in the apartment or student can stay outside of the campus. So it depends on student, whatever he prefers.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome, sir. Yes. Any other question anybody is having? Balal sir, do you have any question?
नाही सर समजलं नाही काहीच क्वेश्चन थँक्यू
All right, I hope everything we covered. And Anmol, thank you for your time. Sitish, thank you for your time. And Anjal, thank you for your time.
Kavendra sir, one question.
Yes, please. Please.
So if once a student clears the USMLE step 1, so they will require US visa, right? So by default, if you get a USMLE clear, by default you get the visa, and what is the validity period?
Yeah, basically, whenever student clear their USMLE step 1, university process their visa that is called B1 visa, and that is for the special purpose for the medical clerkship at Pontiac General Hospital. So on the visa, embassy will write the purpose for the clinical clerkship at Pontiac General Hospital. I can share that visa with you. And the duration of the visa is 10 years. Students are getting this visa for 10 years.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome, sir.
I
And
have a question.
yes.
Sir, what about the staying, sir? Is is it separate for girls and boys, or is it living together, sir?
Where in Curaçao?
Yes, sir. In Curaçao as well as in US, sir.
It is separate. Separate dorm for the girls and separate dorm for the boys.
Thank you, sir.
Even in the US?
Yes. Yes, it's different. All the apartments are specific for girls and then specific for boys. It's different.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So thanks a lot, Anmol, Kshitij, and Anchal. And thank you very much to all the parents and all the students, all associates, all our branch directors, and all the present student of SMU. Thank you very much. With all of your permission, I'm going to end this meeting. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.